It's time for News and Views with your host, Dale Jackson.
It's Monday, March 25th, 2024, and you know what that means, right? Yes, you know the words. It is time for the fastest hour of radio anywhere on your radio dial. We take multiple hours of radio, we compact them down into 1 hour, and we give you everything you need in that 1 hour. You get the 7 things you should be talking about today coming up here in just a moment. You also get great guests like Brad Presnall. He's a political consultant. He's done work with the AEA, presidential candidates, senators, congressmen, you name it. He's on top of that. We'll talk to him about some things that are going on in the state of Alabama and beyond. And then we get 10 with him at the end of the program, where you get to ask questions of me, and I try to answer them. And we're on a bit of a streak here on this program. I think we've done it 3 days in a row where we got to all 10. Yeah, that's right. 3 days in a row. I went back and did the math from Friday. We did get to all 10. So fear not. We continue with that. But right now, we're about to get into the 7 things. And that's brought to you by my friends at Fence One. You know, I'm getting ready to have a party here coming up in just a little bit, and I've realized I've invited maybe too many people. That means I got to make certain people go outside and just stand outside and wait. Those people like John Bird, make him stand outside on my deck. I mean, he'll be out there anyway serving drinks and cleaning up and doing stuff like that. But I want to have a nice deck, nice and sturdy. Can't hurt the help. So you make sure you talk to my friends at Fence One. Yeah, I said Fence One. I'm talking about decks. Yeah, they specialize in commercial and residential fence installation, repair, and staining. But they are the best in business when it comes to deck repairs, restoration, and pressure washing. I had some repairs done to my deck. Fence One did it, and they did a fantastic job. You can schedule your estimate today, and they're ready to help you. Best prices, best quality, guaranteed. Talk to my friends at Fence One today, 205-435-2739. You can talk to them. Again, 205-435-2739. But if you hear my voice, fence1.net, they can hook you up. Fence installation, repair, staining, and restoration. Same with deck. They're all over it. Fence1.net. Remember, financing available 3 to 8 years. 3 months to 8 years with 18 months, 0% financing. That's fence1.net. Check them out today. And when you do, of course, make sure you tell them Dale Jackson sent you. All right, let's get to it. It is time for the often duplicated, never replicated, the most critically acclaimed segment here on News and Views. Brought to you by Alabama's most trusted journalist. It's the 7 things you should be talking about today.
The 7 things you should be talking about today. Number 7.
You know, after being praised by statewide media for throwing his career away, gaining national TV time with CNN's Caitlin Collins, and having Read Freely Alabama raise dozens and dozens of dollars for him, the fired and embarrassed former Autauga and Prattville Library Board Library Director Andrew Foster wants his job back. Aww. Foster also wants an apology, but that seems rather unlikely after he recorded the library board fought their decisions on book weeding, which means get the porn out of your library, and took the side of degenerates pushing for filth in Alabama's libraries. And that ended up ultimately costing him his job. Oh, and the jobs of multiple ridiculous coworkers. You're doing great. Things are going great.
Number 6.
Fatties may be protected soon. This bill seems like a heavy lift to me, but State Representative Wandling Gavan, a Democrat out of Birmingham, has decided to take on this gargantuan task of protecting plus-size people from what she calls discrimination. The expanding issue could fatten up lawyers' wallets and place hefty meals on the plate of business owners who will have to plump up their locations to take on this meaty issue. This is a real story, by the way. I didn't just put a bunch of fat puns in there and things like that. But I will tell you this. It's true. Wandling Gavan wants to make it to where if your business is not up to taking on all the fat people, that might be discrimination. And here's my message to the Alabama legislature. Fat chance that anyone is going to buy in on this. Do not do this. This is only opening up the door for tons of problems. Do not do this.
Number 5.
More in vitro fertilization, that would be IVF, legislation is possible, but I don't think so. I'm going to go back and look at what happened with the Roe v. Wade, the abortion conversation in the very beginning. If you may remember, We had legislators say, no, we're just going to pass this. And then we're going to come back and rape and incest exemptions. We'll just put those on later. Don't worry about it. I don't think it's going to happen. According to some lawmakers, the unwillingness to take on a debate that broadens the gulf between strictly pro-life Republicans who are less married to that cause, and pro-abortion advocates seems like a real issue that is going to be hard to overcome. Regardless, bills will be introduced, and if they get voted on, people will have to go on the record on this contentious issue. Some want to go away. I don't see them revisiting this.
Number 4.
Alabama could have some new health care options, and lawmakers appear to be having some issues with it. You may hear on various radio stations around the state about Medi-Share plans, not necessarily health care plans like insurance. They're Medi-Share plans, and it's laid out in the sense like you're sharing the cost with other people as opposed to a traditional insurance plan. State Senator Arthur Orr, a Republican of Decatur, wants the Alabama Farmers Federation, there it is, Alpha. Why do they call it Alpha? Can someone help me out with that? ALFA. How is that Alabama Farmers Federation? Anyway, they have the ability to offer plans that allow people to share health care costs. That's what Arthur Orr wants to allow Alpha to do. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama obviously does not like this because it creates some competition, while others note that it's not actually health insurance, and if you're required to carry health insurance, this would not meet those goals. But it's another option. Shouldn't we be okay with that?
Number 3.
A terror attack in Russia that was believed to have been committed by ISIS-K has been blamed on the CIA. That's right. Yep, the CIA has been blamed. Israel, of course. The Jews did it. It was the Jews. And Ukraine. It was ISIS. That seems to be the general consensus here. And everyone says, well, the general consensus is always wrong. Well, the general consensus isn't always wrong. 166 people dead. And so they killed almost 200 people. The people that did this were then tortured, including shocking one of their genitals and making one allegedly eat their own ear. Yeah, this is what they've been doing to them. And I'm just like, all right, that's cool. And the media's like, how could they do this? How could they do this? Are we no better than them? No, we're a little better than them. We just made them eat their ear. They killed people who were watching a show. F them.
Number 2.
Alabama's number 2 Democrat has stumbled upon a completely insane, stupid, and evil discussion on abortion right before an election in North Alabama in District 10 that has basically been nothing but an abortion conversation. It's been very, very strange. Very strange. The vice chair of the Alabama Democratic Party, Tabitha Eisner, claims that pro-lifers hate children because children are sinful. See, the pro-lifers love fetuses because they are not with sin yet. The minute they are born, boom, they have sin, therefore we hate them if you're a pro-lifer. It's completely insane. Maybe somebody in the media should ask some of these Democrats who are running for office, like the ones running for Congress or Maryland Lands, hey, you know this completely bat crap insane thing that this idiot Tabitha Eisner said? What do you think about that? Oh, we only do that to Republicans. Oh, okay. All right, good. By the way, they agree with it.
And now time for the number 1 thing you should be talking about today.
The latest vote to avoid a government shutdown added tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of money to our federal debt. But it passed. They did it. They made a deal. They got it done. The government technically should have shut down for a little bit, which I thought would have been really funny. Like, they're still debating it. Like, somebody comes in and shuts the lights off and everyone leaves. Like, they just can't do it because the government is shut down. That would have been awesome. But that didn't happen. Saturday morning, the United States Senate voted 74 to 24. It's $1 trillion in spending. Let's put it that way. $1.2 trillion in spending. Let's not say it's adding all that to that. I'm sure we're raising some money during all of this. So there we go. Alabama's United States senators were split on this vote, with Katie Britt voting no, and Tommy Tuberville, Katie Britt voting yes, and Tommy Tuberville voting no. The U.S. House voted down party lines, 6-1, against the measure, at least the Alabama delegation, but it passed anyway. Britt noted this. This is the two different perspectives you're seeing amongst Republicans. Ready? Given a divided Congress and a Democratic-controlled White House, this legislation is certainly far from perfect, but conservatives were able to secure major concessions while we made important incremental strides and delivered wins for the people of Alabama. Tuberville had a different perspective. The 1,000-page, $1.2 trillion bill was delivered without adequate time to review and is packed with wasteful spending and budget gimmicks to try to hide the true cost. Our nation is $35 trillion in debt, and we've got to get a handle on our spending. This bill is all talk, no action. I would disagree with Tuberville on this. I'll tell you why, because this is like not all talk and no action. There's a lot of action in this thing, a lot of it. But it's just towards spending more money. I mean, that's really all it is. It is spending more money that we don't have again and again and again in order to keep the government open because they have framed it as a absolute necessity and emergency. That's what this is. And that's how this happens. The people who voted yes claimed I'm bringing home the bacon. The people who voted no say this has gone too far. And we just move the ball down the field just a little bit more, and we get closer and closer to insolvency and chaos. But at least we got, another 90 days or whatever out of this. So there we go. Lots of fun to be had by all, but that's the story of that particular piece of legislation. No government shutdown. Congratulations. Let's come back and do this in, say, 90 days. Okay. All right, good. Well, let's go ahead and do that. If you'd like to weigh in right now on the 7 things or ask a question for 10 with him, I'm sure you guys have some. Here's how you do it. At 205-545-9950, you can get your thoughts in, obviously. Don't forget, coming up here in just a little bit, Brad Presnall will be with us. He's a political consultant. He's done work with the AEA and a bunch of other presidential campaigns as well. So we'll talk with him coming up here later on in the program. And then 10 with him later on as well. So get your questions in for that. 205-545-9950. You can get that in right now on the fastest hour of radio anywhere on your radio dial. Yes, it is News and Views, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to News and Views with Dale Jackson.